episode of Thrive Talks, and here we are at fourth episode with Dr. Chaitanya Sridhar, and we're talking about future directions right now and the community of sports psychology as well. We've had such amazing conversations about systems, the responsibilities of sports psychologists, and yeah, the kind of work that we need to be doing. Now we're going to the next part where, what role do you think associations, communities, federations maybe, organizations, what role do you think they play in strengthening this?
So, I'd like to start with Dr. Poj's quote, which I know we both connect a lot to, is that it connects so much to building that environment. So he says safety is not the absence of threat. Safety is the presence of connection.
Yeah.
And when I came for the first INSPA conference, I think the way you all welcomed me, the way, it wasn't just about giving the keynote, but I think being part of the system, and even when you informed me, you're building community, you're building connection. And those 2 days was so heartening, because along with the learnings, you're actually bonding. There's that sense of belongingness.
Yeah.
You're building an environment which can help us thrive. So imagine if we can, bring that into the system and help the organization, and it's a two-way lane.
Yeah,
we help,
absolutely.
they help, we come together to bring up, to be that bridge. Mr. Nandan Kamath was there we were in the same panel, and he was talking of the sports bridge in his keynote as well at the Army Conclave, and I'm like, that's so beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like, look at that metaphor, the image of the bridge, and I kind of feel like what we were saying in our book as the catalyst, and I think that is what we need to build. How are we building this bridge? How are we building, this terrain where there's a meeting point of the various stakeholders? And I think, that's exactly what exists, and if you look at the working model, of course, vision, mission, all that, but how is your environment? If you want a plant to bloom, you have to give it the right nutrients.
Absolutely.
So the right ingredients for a great, we've just had a meal, the right ingredients for a brilliant, let's say, dessert, right? It's not just baking powder and egg and etc. Only when it comes together in the right way. So I feel like that's the need of the hour.
Absolutely.
And I think we are beginning to see that, every conclave, congress, sports psychology is represented. At the Army Conclave, it was actually, sports psych, which was given
most
the
importance,
predominance.
which is lovely. Which is lovely.
And I think for me, to see this happening in India from where I started, I can't tell you how heartening it is.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
Yeah. And the role that, you all at INSPA playing, I think also, I keep saying that baton that you all are taking forward. Like, I know people like Mugdha and me were like to get Indian sports psychs to that level. And also to professionalize it, to be professional, right? Not everyone doing a 1 week, 2 week course becomes a sports psych. I feel like we're getting some solid structure here. But not rigid, but we are getting structure.
Yeah, I think I really love how you put it. It's structured but not rigid. That I think that makes a big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
We're still new, so I feel like that it can't become rigid. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. It's that right flow. No, you can't be too rigid, but you can't be too flowy, overflowy, right?
Absolutely. We were talking quite a bit about collaborative work and working in systems, right? And I'm bringing this question up now instead of earlier, mainly because I think it fits perfectly well here.
Right.
But I'm just connecting it back to that. How do you think we can move from isolated good work to collaborative, collectivistic, great work?
Great work, is that
Yeah.
what? Yeah. Yeah, because I think, initially I remember when I was working with Asian Games back then, and one or two athletes, who had the guts to also say that, what we did, our work together, but it was very much in tandem. And now the impactful work is happening when we are seen as an integral unit, and then the industry, the academy, the organization is also meeting you. And I think that's where collaboration at the macro and then collaboration at the micro with, not just an SNC or it's just a psych, but it's the entire unit which is standing and supporting the athlete and team. And like there have been times where I know someone is not so pro a psych, they may or may not take it. So you go with who does he or she have a good equation with, and get that message across. And then what, they may come back to you later.
Absolutely.
But at that point of time, it's not a Keerthana or a Chaitanya or a XYZ. It's about how are we helping this
being
particular.
athlete-centric,
So I kind of feel it really is. And when you do collaborative work, you're actually empowering everyone there. Because I remember once, this was way back when I was quite young myself as a psych, was, this masseuse, right? He was massaging one of the players and he said, oh, your calf is a little tight. He had a catch at the match, in the match. And so when we work, I was like, please be careful of what you're saying, because that is the field where they're buying in everything you're saying. So if we can empower even our micro with what do you say to which athlete?
Absolutely.
Because for me, I'm like, I don't want the athlete to be dependent on me forever. It's okay at a certain point, they're just returning from injury, they've had a really low, or they're a young player who's transitioning. But then the point is you finally want them to get independent, and we can support them as an interdependent unit.
Absolutely. I think that makes a big difference. It genuinely does make a big difference to do that.
And I also want to add that the system, especially a micro system, should stick to their specific roles. Just because you know a little bit of psychology, you're not the psychologist.
That's where I completely agree with you, and I also believe that, these things are taught to us for a reason. I feel like I need to know a little bit of physiology.
Exactly.
Just so that I know whether this is a physiological issue or a psychological issue. And I think an SNC or a physio or a medical doc needs to know a little bit of psychology, not because they have to prescribe something, but at least they can refer them to us.
Definitely, I agree.
I think that kind of respect needs to be there between us, and knowledge
Maintaining
does not
your
mean
boundaries.
Exactly. I think that makes a big difference. That does.
Oh, definitely. I there's this example. I remember, there was the head of physio was non-Indian. And he was like, Chaitanya, I need you to translate. So I said, okay. And I'm actually glad because I kept getting the referral that this athlete is crying. She's, her mood swings. And in my session, I'm like, she's not so low. I mean, of course, she was recovering from, terminal, not terminal, but like an illness which was taking a long time. And that's when they figured, I think her iodine, her iron, and if I'm not wrong, her TSH was running low. Which also affects your mood and energy and everything. And then I went back, and it was so good that he did not know how to communicate with her. So I got pulled in. If not, we're just going in loops. No?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I definitely feel yes, and you need to know. I need to understand. Like I remember, the nutritionist once, I had referred an athlete. And this was an extremely lean, high jumper, but really lean. And he said, Chaitanya, you need to work with stress. The nutritionist, okay? You need to work with his stress level. I said, I know that. And then he said, no, this guy is so anxious. He eats like 10 to 20 idlis before competition, and then he can't hold it. And I was like, oh wow.
That's a lot.
And then that was a very crucial point, because then I knew he was
exactly
anxious.
Where to work on as well.
But the fact that he was so anxious, so that's where when we can work as a unit. And Keerthana, sometimes what the parents will tell you or what the athlete tells you is a little, over the top, because everyone feels I'm India or, I'm medal perspective.
So,
and then you talk to the coach, and then the coach, the parent will tell you, oh, why isn't he improving?
Yeah.
I think it's the mind. And then when you talk to the coach
You
will be
understand
like,
that it's not.
no,
Yeah.
Chaitanya, that's his, this is
Nature.
where he is.
Yeah.
And it makes your life a little easier. And I think you can really get to the root cause of what needs to be worked on.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Definitely, collaboration is the way with healthy respect and boundaries for your role. Like, just because I understand nutrition, I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not supposed to give.
Yeah. True. Very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. What gives you hope about sports psychologists in India right now, or rather even sports psychology in India right now?
Yeah, I feel like there is growth happening in the right way, which might look like a little slower than the West, but I feel that what I like is there is growth. There's some structure which you all are bringing through INSPA. I also am most heartened that we are bringing in indigenous models.
Yeah.
We're no more, because just a working West model will not work. It's not work.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there's a lot of integration, and then because the system and is also being a lot more open to sports side. Like I was having this discussion recently with the person who heads the Mission Olympics wing, and like it was so it invigorates you, right? Like the discussions, I feel that is where we are going to grow. That's where Indian sport is going to grow. And to always remember that we are supporting Indian sport.
Yeah.
I feel like we're coming on that path. And I think just a note of caution, which I know probably I can put out, Keerthana being like one of probably the oldest in the field, is this is not about you. Always remember this is, you're working for India and Indian sport. If you can keep that, of course, here and there things will come, but to have that, your vision needs to be very clear as to what are you serving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes a big difference.
Definitely.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That was a beautiful series of conversations that we've had. Definitely we'll pick this up again in some time.
Sure.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And yes, looking forward to more such conversations and making a much more impact, or rather doing a lot of impactful work as well.
Thank you, Keerthana. Thank you. And I mean, genuinely, I feel like all these new initiatives that you bring up or INSPA brings up, I think, and also inviting, taking in themes and topics, and I think that's the need of the hour. So I'm more than happy to support anytime. Thank you.
Thank you so much.